Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I am Mark Givler. Kevin Noon with me here today. As usual, it's flip season. Buckeyes have been trying to keep some of their own guys in the fold, but they're also going after some other guys at other programs and trying to be the flippers and not the flippies. So they've done that today. They have flipped Jordyn Woods, the defensive back prospect, 6'3", 6'4" defensive back prospect. Committed to the University of Cincinnati. Big time get for the Buckeyes. This is a kid who they've had up on campus a few times recently, had the official visit for the Indiana game. That went as planned as far as being a positive reinforcement there on what his thoughts were about Ohio State. And the Buckeyes have officially flipped him. So the Buckeyes add another big cornerback to this class. Jordyn Woods is an interesting player. We'll get to his film here and kind of break some things down for you. But again, Cartersville, Georgia, same high school as Trevor Lawrence. But you just watch, you see the size, obviously, you can it stands out on tape. But what I really like about him is he's not just a big, like, finesse corner. He is a physical kid, whether it's coming up and being physical with receivers and in coverage, or whether it's coming up in run support, bringing guys to the ground. He's a guy who really closes on ball carriers really well, very short tackler, and makes guys kind of feel his physical presence. Kind of a big, long basketball athlete. So, again, a lot of upside here. This is a guy Ohio State identified a few months ago and has really picked things up with. Has really been a take since they offered him, back a month or so ago. And it was never a game that was being played there. They were simply trying to learn more about him as a person. They loved the film. They brought him up on campus a couple times, liked what they saw there, liked being around him and his family. And here we have it. So, Kevin, obviously there's always a lot of angst as we get close to signing day and things like that. And there's a lot of balls in the air, so to speak, as far as, who are they going to flip? Who could maybe leave their class and flip somewhere else? Naeem Offord's obviously a big situation that keeps getting talked about, but and that's something that shouldn't play out until signing day, according to Naeem Offord. But Woods in the fold now. Is this good insurance? Is this just you needed to add this anyway? Kind of how do you view how this came together?
Yeah, I think that the star watchers are going to freak out. 3-star, 1,273rd national player according to the 247 composite, but you can't get out and see them all. And even though Cartersville is a significant program in the state of Georgia, I think sometimes there's a little bit of a bias. If you're not the guy on your team, well, we don't want to have 6 guys ranked in the top, 300 from the same school, unless it's IMG or Mater Dei or somewhere like that. But the initial question is going to be from a lot of people, is this, Naeem Offord insurance? Is this whatever? I mean, as you go to 105 scholarships, I think it's important to know that you can go out and get a couple of guys that you think that are really going to be capable of playing, even if it may not be in year one. You sit there, you get a guy, you redshirt him, and I'm the biggest opponent of redshirting these days because there's no real benefit. If you are the main program and you redshirt him, you're redshirting him for his next stop. And, I'm not saying to waste a kid's eligibility just out of spite, but it just doesn't really benefit you. But you get a kid like this, you get him in the strength and conditioning program for a year. He might be better than anything you can go out and get in the portal. I mean, honestly, the thing that you get a lot of times out of the portal is experience, and he wouldn't have that being a red shirt, but he would have that going in practice. And while he would probably be running scout team in his first year, I mean, he's going to be going against elite athletes and everything else at that point. So there's some upside there too. So I think this is a really good pickup. I don't see it, again, as you'd said, I don't see it as a replacement for anybody or whatever. I just think that this is a case that if we were still in the limit of 85 and Ohio State were sitting at 84 and had an open spot, that they would still take a swing.
Yeah, I can say this with pretty full confidence that this is not Naeem Offord insurance. This is kind of made independently of Naeem Offord. Now there may be moves that we see down the stretch here further that are more of a move to protect against Niem Offord or to insurance, or there may be other moves like that are made. But this move particular was made as an addition to what they already have. They've wanted another corner since Blake Woodby decommitted. This guy fits the bill. Jordyn is a very big physical corner. They like these types of guys. The Devin Sanchez, Niem Offord, these are 6-foot plus corners that can handle run support, can handle big physical receivers. What I like about Jordyn is I think so. What I really like is the versatility. I think, again, if you have corners that you really like on the outside, Devin Sanchez, Niem Offord, Devin Sanchez, and whoever else, Aaron Scott maybe. But Jordyn is really pushing. You can move him into the slot. He can play the Jordan Hancock role. I think he could play free safety. He tackles so well that I think he could play free safety. So there are a lot of ways I think he can get on the field beyond just, I don't think he's just going to come and be Devin. He doesn't have to come in and be Devin Sanchez's backup until Devin Sanchez goes 3 and done to the NFL or something. I think he can come in and he can find a role in that secondary, within the first couple of years, assuming he develops. But so that's kind of what I like is the size, the kind of the projectable versatility, the basketball background, the athleticism kind of makes him intriguing to me. We've seen a lot of guys have success with that. The Malik Hookers of the world. And I know that they've got a couple guys on the roster right now who are pretty good basketball players in high school. So I think, again, there's a lot of projectable stuff here that I really like about him that you can't teach. Certain things you're going to be able to teach him, technique, you're going to ingrain him in the culture, things like that. But you can't teach the fact that he's almost 6'4". You can't really even teach the fact that he's physical. I mean, if you're not a physical tackler, by the time you're 18, 19 years old, you're not going to be a physical tackler. So he's got some things there that are really good to work with right now, and they can mold that into something. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this kid's game, and I think this was a savvy pickup, and I think the Buckeye fans will be eventually happy with it. And it wouldn't shock me, like his senior film just came out. It wouldn't shock me to see him get bumped. I know Ohio State fans only think that their players get down or get voted down, but they get them flipped up sometimes. I could see it.
Well, I mean, and the thing too is with him being a 3-star. I mean, there's a lot of chicken on the bone there. I mean, you could move him up to the top of your 3 stars and have him at whatever, 400 nationally, 375, 350, whatever, and all you're doing there is just changing, a little housekeeping. I mean, you're not doing anything, but what I've seen out of his tape and everything else, I think that it's an impressive kid. I mean, and he's doing it he's not playing against pipsqueaks. I mean, he's playing at Cartersville, Georgia. He's, there in, north central Georgia, which is where a lot of the talent is. He's not doing it like up at the Tennessee state line, not to take anything away from Von Bell. He's not doing it in pretty much, I don't know of a corner of Georgia where I'd say, well, they don't have any dudes, because we've covered every damn state of that, every corner of that state and seen dudes. So, just have no faith have no fear that he is going against legitimate receivers and, probably going against some guys that are going to be playing, Division 1A football, I mean, P5 football even. So,
yeah.
I'm not concerned about a case of this isn't a guy coming out of some small state and it's like, well, this is high risk, high reward. I don't think that there's much risk here. I really don't. I mean, it's going to work or it's not going to work, but it's not a case of, well, he's got to clear 7 hurdles before he can do anything. He's cleared a lot of the hurdles already.
And I think there's something a little extra to be said about the mindset that he would come into this class as a lower rated prospect and not feel like, it'd be so easy for him to go to Cincinnati and like be the big man on campus day one, probably, if not start, play a ton day one in the Big 12, another power conference. I think there's something to be said about the confidence and the competitiveness of throwing himself into this class. I really like that about him. So we'll see. I like the pickup, and I would say I think this was a reach. I would say that. I don't think this is a reach. I think this was a well thought out, calculated decision. This was a guy they've done months of research on. They've watched all his film. They've had him up on campus multiple times. This was not done as a reactionary thing to any situation that might be going on elsewhere. This was a pretty straight up deal. So I think Ohio State made a good decision here. I think Jordyn Woods has a chance to be a really good player, and we will find that out soon because he's going to be on campus soon. So we'll find that out pretty soon. But yep, that'll do it for this episode. We appreciate everyone checking us out. Again, youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Also, if you go on to iTunes or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can download us there. Please leave us a review. That really helps us. It's easy to get like the algorithm on YouTube flowing. It's a little less easy to get the audio version like shot out there to everybody. So if you leave us a review, a positive review, then that helps other Ohio State fans find us. So we would appreciate that as well. But more good news for the Buckeyes on the recruiting trail. So another good pickup for Ohio State. We will talk to you soon. Thank you again for watching and listening.